Guten Abend, herzlich willkommen. It's a great pleasure for us that we can present to you our new master program in economics and public policy. We will present in English, but please feel free to ask questions in German during the Q&A in the end. Now we have set up a new program that is unique in Switzerland and would be, we think, a very good fit for you if you want to learn how to handle policy challenges at the interfaces between the population, that is us, state institutions and private sector organizations. And be assured, we will never run out of such policy challenges. What we can offer here is, let me jump here. Yeah, what we can offer here is personalized learning. That is a combination of lectures and courses and coursework that is tailored to your interests and needs. So if you would like to, of course, only the faculty in this program is happy to give advice on how you optimally combine a set of courses for you. So we will organize quite some exchange among students, and we will also have exchange between us, the faculty and students. So with this, we want to facilitate an engaging community. There are three main strengths that characterize our program. So first, we focus on skills. Skills that empower you to address societal challenges from an economic perspective. Second, when we do this in our program, this is application-oriented. So you learn the key economic and quantitative methodological principles in the context of concrete policy questions. And third, as a complement, you get access to current research firsthand, as we can rely on a group of internationally active scholars. So far, these are the promises. So you might ask, what is behind this public policy program in terms of substance? You might also ask, who is behind the program and how is the master program organized? We will answer these questions during the next 15 minutes. So what is behind the new master program in economics and public policy? So first of all, it's you. You build your house of knowledge and skills on economics and public policy. However, it's important, we want to support you. We educate since 1460, as you know, at least as an institution. We mentor and we coach. And we do this based on the first important foundation of our program, that is our curriculum. And now let me briefly present the structure of our curriculum. Now, our master curriculum builds on the fundamentals in theoretical methods in business and economics, econometrics, and the course in numerical methods and optimization. Then we have the core of the master. It includes 4 courses that are taken by everybody in the program. So the first one is a new course that provides you with an advanced basis on the economics of public policy. The second one is an advanced course in public economics. And then the third course has also been newly outlined, and it's a course in which you learn about causal inference for policy evaluation. And then there is a course entitled Informing Public Policy, in which you follow through an economic policy analysis from the start to the end. So you start really with the unstructured problem that you try to understand using the tools of economics. And then you follow it all the way to the formulation of a policy proposal. You will do this in group work, and you will also learn about the communication of science, of policy, of science related to policy issues. And in the end, you will also write a so-called policy brief. Within this program, you will choose between one of 3 policy fields in which you take specialized thematic courses that you will complement with field electives. So you can really immerse in a particular area. And this will add the ivy finish to your collection of courses and coursework. Now, of course, the masterpiece at the end will be your thesis. And you will prepare for this thesis with a seminar paper, and you will also be engaged in a colloquium. And this colloquium will run over the entire program, and you will discuss your own piece of applied research from a really early stage till the end when you present actually your final outcome. So much for the moment about the program in general. Now I would like to come to the second important foundation of our program, and this is our team. We are a team of scholars experienced in policy relevant research, teaching, and knowledge transfer. Now we will soon have a team picture, I'm sure, but for the moment we have to rely on this collection showing the 9 members of the faculty forming the core of the lecturers in the program. You might probably know several of them from your studies already. On our webpage, you can read short bios to learn more about our background. And now, these are the 4 people who will present the new master's program tonight. My name is Olivier Stutzer. I'm a professor of political economics at this faculty. Next, you will hear Professor Hannes Weigt. He is in energy economics. And then Professor Stefan Felder, who is the Swiss expert in health economics, will talk to you. And at the end, Aya Kachi will present some important general information about our new program, and she engages in international political economics. So I would now like to hand over to Hannes.
Thanks a lot. So hello and welcome. My name is Hannes Weigt. I am the energy economist in the team, and I will represent more than just myself. I represent the energy and environment block within this master, and I'm going to give you a 2-minute teaser why, if you're interested in those topics, this master is the perfect choice for you. So let's start with our teaching concept. You have seen, after you had the fundamentals and the bigger picture of what is behind the master, you're going to choose the policy fields. If you go into environment and energy, we're going to provide you with the basic understandings of environmental economics and energy economics, and couple that with the public policy perspective and especially the citizen perspective. We're going to cover current topics. So, well, climate change is an obvious topic we have in there, but it's just one element of the broader environmental perspective. We're going to have a look at the energy market transition and the special detail of electricity and market coupling. So those lectures will provide you with an understanding why, for example, a carbon price would be a really, really good choice to do from an economic perspective. But you will also learn why this really good choice is somehow not implemented, and what second, third, fourth, and whatever best alternatives could be. So this is a little bit what you could learn in there. We have a focus on providing you naturally with all the theoretic background you're going to need there, but it's an applied perspective here. There are problems out there we want to solve, and our lectures will guide you along the way how you can use the knowledge we provide you in actually solving real-world problems. And well, naturally, energy and environmental topics are way more than just a socio-economic perspective here. They go into natural science, they go into deep social science, and here we have a broad network at the university where you can link to. So let's give you a short example of what we're going to do in research. So Alois, this is an example by Beat Hintermann, who's also participating here. So if you have any detailed question, feel free to ask him directly. And this is a field experiment that has been done before COVID happened, but is now really helpful in tracking also COVID. Basic idea is there, if you drive a car, you're normally causing something called external costs. So you're going to impose some health problems for other persons. You're going to have an impact on the climate with your emissions, and you're going to have a lot of congestion problems because a lot of the time we just stand in our car instead of driving in our car. And this field experiment provided a smartphone option where you could have a price information telling you about those external costs and actually pricing you on that. And what you see up there in the first picture is basically telling us, hey, yeah, prices do work. if you get that price information, you're actually gonna reduce your external effect on the system. So this is a nice kind of transfer of the theory you learn into real-world setting and then trying to understand the details in there. And as you see in the lower picture, the same sample also helps us right now to understand better what's happening with mobility and COVID. So make an educated guess what the first dip has been there in March. And as you can clearly see, the second dip is by far way smaller. So the first COVID lockdown was a kind of tremendous shock, whereas the second is kind of like, yeah, we know how the game works, so yeah, let's still kind of behave like before. And that's maybe also one of the reasons we now see why we're not gonna avoid a third wave, it seems. So that was my teaser. Hope I could stir some interest, and I would like to welcome you next fall. So I'm gonna hand over to Stefan. You're still on mute?
I'm sorry about that. Thanks, Hannes. Well, it's a pleasure to welcome you and to have the opportunity to present to you the field of public health and labor. The person you see on that picture is a perfect match for our two fields, right? It's a doctor as an employee. He's part of the labor market. And then he's also a health provider, of course. And in the lecture I'm having on the master's course, I will address reimbursement of physicians, but also reimbursement of hospitals and the pricing of pharmaceuticals. And then we deal with health insurance. And both sectors, the providers of healthcare as well as health insurance markets, they are heavily regulated. And that's why regulation and health policy are important subjects in these courses. In research, we move on, Alois. In research, we currently work on drug shortages, where you might think, what is that? In Switzerland, we have about 4,000 pharmaceutical products. And over the last 5 years, 1/5 of those 4,000 products have been on shortage for a while, at least 2 weeks, but on average, they were on shortage for 20 weeks, not as a long period as Michael was talking. He was talking about half a year, but 20 weeks is quite a long period. And then the question arises: what does the physicians or the pharmacist if a drug is no longer available? And we found out that they have to move quite often to cheaper drugs. And you might ask, why cheaper drugs? Well, the answer is probably quite simple. There's an economic reason, an incentive to normally they sell more expensive drugs, and then if they no longer can, they are forced to turn to cheaper ones. Now, I would also like to have a few words on Connie Wunsch's program. She is professor in labor economics. And an important topic in her teaching is digitalization. Now, digitalization has been pushed by the corona epidemic we are currently experiencing, and it has also led to layoffs. Now, will these jobs come back after the crisis, or will they possibly be offshored to countries where labor is cheaper than in Switzerland? This is an important question, and Connie Wunsch is addressing this issue in her teaching. Digitalization is also crucial in her research. She has put on the slide a couple of questions. You might read them. And what about the last one? Are students making the right choices that prepare them well for the labor market? Now we are confident that if you will choose MEP, you will make the right choice. And with that, I hand over to Professor Ayakachi.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. So from here, I'm going to take over the last bits of our presentation, our program's presentation. By the way, my name is Ayakachi, and I'm an associate professor for international political economy and energy policy at the Faculty of Business and Economics. So by now, you're probably wondering, so what it will be really like for you to be in our program. So let me tell you about that first. So one of the unique characteristics of our program is that we, the faculty members, believe that your learning experience should be some sort of joint production or joint venture between students and the lecturers. It's not just students' business, right? And also among students, so yourselves too, there will be plenty of opportunities where all the students in the same cohort can work together. I think it's kind of a rare opportunity. For instance, some of the core courses like economics of public policy and informing public policy that Professor Stutzer mentioned earlier are what the entire cohort of students take together. And similarly, we also have so-called a thesis colloquium throughout the program that should guide you through the process, your thesis process, from building a research question to presenting your final thesis. And of course, along the way, you get a chance to sort of give feedback to other students, so your peer, but also vice versa. You receive feedback from your students, other students, your peer, not just from your advisor. And finally, on this point, at times, multiple lecturers will be involved in your courses. So here, we believe that we can really capitalize the expertise of the faculty, our faculty members, with diverse knowledge profiles, right? So, yeah, as this slide says, we see fall term as an ideal entry point to the program. And in general, we think that the 4-semester version would be in a way better, in the sense that it would enrich your learning a lot more. But if you wish, you could also complete the program within 3 semesters. Let's already go to the next slide. So prerequisite. So since now you really want to get into the program, you're wondering, what do I need to get into the program? So from our point of view, the most important is that you have fundamental skills in economics and mathematics. In other words, you're not somebody who is shying away from numbers, right? So naturally, if you have a bachelor's degree in economics, I think that's really naturally suitable. But for the reason I mentioned, you might be an equally viable candidate if you have a bachelor's degree in political science with a relatively strong quantitative focus. Also, for example, a bachelor's degree in business informatics or industrial engineering and so on. I hope you get the point. So next, the language situation. So what is the language situation of our program? You might have guessed from how we have been presenting our program. We offer all the mandatory courses in English. However, there are some elective courses offered in German as well. Perhaps most importantly for you right now to know, when it comes to your seminar papers and master's thesis, you can write it either in English or German. So this is something that you need to consult with your advisor, I guess. Finally, so as we wrap up this session, so let's try to imagine where you will be in 2 to 3 years, right? As you probably know by now, public policy is shaped by the interaction of civil society, firms, and various branches of the government. But also, don't forget, people like us academics are also very important actors supporting these policy processes. So what we want to emphasize, and actually Stefan, well, my colleague, Professor Felder already mentioned, we're absolutely confident that at the end of your study in our program, you will be perfectly prepared to take up on various policy-related challenges as any of these actors that I just mentioned. Just to give you some examples. So you might be, in the near future, you might be designing policy proposals in public administration, so domestically, or maybe in an international organization. You may be assessing and influencing policies in the private sector, but also you might be influencing these policies in politics or advocacy. Another example would be, you might be supporting all these actors as professional or academic policy advisors, right? So there are many options. And so to conclude, to enable all these goals that you might have, we, all the faculty members, see it as our program's mission to provide, how can I say, some sort of transformative experience. So every day you gain some new knowledge. In each session, you acquire new skills, right? So this transformative experience that ensures that you have the necessary analytical skills, but also communication skills with which you can excel in these many, many different career paths. That's what we dream, for you, right? As a final remark, perhaps, so having said that, we, all the faculty members, are also perfectly aware that every student's journey, to some extent, in our program, but also beyond, is very different. And that's why we would be more than willing to discuss and also think with you what would be a good way, or what would be your way to make an impact on society, through your career, and hopefully for years to come post-graduation. So I hope I could convey our message well. So this is our vision, and we, all the faculty members, are more than thrilled to be part of these stories of your career or life. We are looking forward. So thank you very much. And I believe we have some time for questions.
Well, thank you so much.